ladies and gentlemen. My favourite person in the world, Jacinta Ardern, being incredibly sarcastic, of course, has come out to Australia and badmouthed Australia again. Now, one of those globalist conferences about 6 months ago, she badmouthed Australia's deportation policies. Get a load of this. She is unhappy that we are deporting her gangbangers, her bikers, her drug dealers, her filth that aren't Australian citizens back to Australia, and she's whinging about it. Well, I'm sorry, Jacinta. They're your problem. If they're not Australian citizens, they're not our problem. You deal with them. We don't want your filth. Have a listen to this arrogance.
Life here and don't even have a home in New Zealand.
Send back Kiwis, genuine Kiwis. Do not deport your people and your problems.
These things normally get said in private. Scott Morrison was standing a metre away being berated. What was he thinking behind that forced grin?
We will own our people. We ask that Australia stops exporting theirs. We have countless who have no home in New Zealand. They have no network. They have grown up in Australia. That is their home, and that is where they should stay.
Mr Morrison was blunt. Non-Australian citizens, if they break the law, they are out.
Under my government's policies, you will not be allowed to remain in Australia. You'll be turned to the citizenship nationality, which is what I define as your home.
How do you send someone home?
The reason why the Channel 9 Australian station has put that slant on it is because they're left-wing. But listen, Ardern, if they haven't got off their ass, gone through the process and become Australian citizens, we don't care if they haven't got a home in New Zealand. They're not our problem. They're your problem. They're New Zealand citizens. You deal with it. And how dare you come out in public and have an arrogant snide go at us for doing our job. We're doing our job. We're deporting back your citizens. You do your job. Go back to New Zealand. You got an election in September. Go and run your country and shut the fuck up about ours. They're your problems. They're your citizens. You deal with them. If they're not Australian citizens, I'm afraid they're not our problem, and we're getting rid of them. We've got enough problems in this country with African gang violence and everything else. We don't need your criminals. We don't need your gangbangers. We don't need your bikers. We don't need your drug dealers. We don't need your shit as well. It's your problem. You deal with it. And how dare you come over and sanctimoniously lecture us about our immigration policies? How dare you? What if we come over to New Zealand and lecture you about the disastrous economy, which was a good economy until you came in? This was nothing to do with us. And I've got no problem with Kiwis. I had a lot of Kiwis as friends. This is nothing to do with us. This is grandstanding to the voters in New Zealand because you got an election in September and you're well behind in the polls. Well, let me tell you something, Ardern, you horse-faced bitch. Australians see through it, and so do the New Zealand voters. And I can't wait till September till you're out on your ass, you lose the election and you go back to your stable. I'll even send you some Australian hay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, I have one response to Jacinta Ardern, and it's this.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red. A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give you the answer that you endorse. He's always on a steady course. Talk to Mr. Ed.